Do Dan Gibson and his fans ban Mecca people from uttering olive? They asked the Muslims if there were any olive trees in Mecca. The Holy Quran mentions olive, but Mecca's soil is not propitious for growing olive trees. Therefore, they argue the Quran was not revealed in Mecca. They argue that olive and grapes grow in Petra, and therefore Petra is the right place for the revelation of the following verse of the Quran. And it is He who sends down rain from the sky and reproduces thereby the growth of all things. We produce from it greenery, from which we produce grains arranged in layers. And from the palm trees of its emerging fruit are clusters hanging low. And we produce gardens of grapevines and olives and pomegranates, similar yet varied. Look at each of its fruit when it yields and at its ripening. Indeed, in that are signs for a people who believe. The Holy Quran, chapter number 6, verse number 99. These fruits can grow in Mecca. By this they conclude that as the Quran contains such verses, then its prophet was from Petra, and the Quran was revealed in Petra, not in Mecca. Before going to talk on this verse, we want to ask them in return that the verses about barriers between two seas are there in the Quran. For example, it is He who has let free the two bodies of flowing water, one palatable and sweet, and the other salt and bitter. Yet has He made a barrier between them, a partition that is forbidden to be passed. Surah Al-Furqan, chapter 25, verse 53 of the Holy Quran. And He has let free the two seas meeting together. Between them is a barrier, which they do not transgress. Surah Ar-Rahman, chapter 55, verse 19 to 20. How can those be in the Quran? Where two seas in Petra? And were any barriers between two seas in Petra? Or were those revealed in the high seas? No, no such things are there in Petra or Mecca. And these bars were never revealed in high seas. These verses rather prove that the revelation of the Quran is not related with any individual place of the earth. That you cannot determine the place of revelation of any verse of the Quran by considering its context, and that the Quran is from Allah, the only all-knowing source of the universe. Now come to the point of the verses they mention. We get thunderstruck by the childish arguments of Dan Gibson and his fans on those verses for three reasons. Reason number one, people of any place in the globe can utter the name of any fruit. There is no ban on it, no prohibition. None of them need to grow that fruit in his or her locality. Why should the Meccan have to grow olive and grapes in their locality to have the words olive and grapes in the Quran? How can Dan and his fans banned the verses of the Quran from being revealed on the soil of Mecca? Is there any reason for such arguments of them? We find nothing. Reason 2. Petra is a rocky city. It is drier than Mecca, more barren than Mecca. No place for growing trees is there in Petra. Why Dan Gibson and his fans especially think that Petra grew olive, grapes and pomegranates? And why is it that the Quran should necessarily be revealed in Petra because of its mentioning of these trees? No reason do we find, no reason at all. Reason 3. There are many other regions in the world where olive grows well. In Italy, olive grows best. Why don't Dan Gibson and his fans argue for the revelation of the Quran in those areas? Say for example, why not in Italy? Why do they favor only Petra, or rather to say, why do they curse only Petra for the book which they curse most? Why don't they choose Persia for the revelation of the Quran? Don't they know that Persia grew grapes? They could have chosen Palestine rather, as pomegranates grow there best. Dear friends, how far can we fight against such childish ideas of the grown-up people? They behave like intelligent humans while they read any ordinary books, but become foolish to read the Quran. Each of the verses of the Quran makes them mad, and they start behaving like madmen, although they are not mad. When they read a poem, they suggest on another to read it minutely, carefully, again and again. But they comment on the Quran without proper reading and clear understanding. What a horrible thing. They rely rather on the preconceived ideas and hearsays. Many of them even don't know that the Quran's prophet was unlettered. He could not read or write, and that many verses are there in the Quran of which he did not have any ideas. He mentioned those verses as Allah knows best. Dear viewers, if you like the video, please like it, comment on it, share it with your friends, and please subscribe the channel. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you all. Allah Hafiz.